Welcome back to the Heard That podcast. Today we got our lovely guest Stitch. I'm Peyton. This is Dante. In case you forgot, we'll just dive right into it. We've been gone for a while. I think our last post was in January. January, the end of January. So
probably 8-9 months now.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't even remember if we covered the NFL playoffs. Sure as fuck.
I think we covered the Super Bowl. I think we got to Super Bowl.
Sure as fuck didn't cover the NFL off season. Didn't cover any baseball season as we're approaching the end of that here. Reason for that, simply I just got a new job at the beginning of February that kind of fucked up my schedule professionally, of course. For probably 3 months then I left that job, and then our schedules would have worked out, but we just got kind of lazy, never really came back to this. But we wanted to come back and
back to it.
Yeah, try and start it at some point here throughout the season. And I think that's where we're going to start. We're going to start Week 4 of the NFL season here. We're just going to roll right back into this. We're going to lead it off. We got the Steelers versus the Vikings in, Dublin. I'm not entirely sure, but
Dublin, maybe?
Another
country.
Yeah,
whatever.
Overseas somewhere. I'm going to take the Steelers personally in this one. I'm going to go, obviously, check the betting lines here and see what the spread's looking at for all these games. But I'm going to take the Steelers here. Obviously, it's not a home game for either of them. Vikings, they should be fine. They should be rolling, but the Steelers, I don't know. I just like the Steelers' defense. Starting off 2.5-point favorites as the Vikings here over the Steelers. And then the over-underline is 40.5 points. I think that game could go either way. Between the two teams, it could go over or under for sure, too. But I'm going to roll with the Steelers there.
I'm thinking Vikings. Just because Kevin O'Connell has done very well with redheaded quarterbacks.
Yeah, he has.
Why? We don't know. But he prefers his redheads, so I'm taking him.
Yeah.
I think Jay Jettis is going to get a little more involved this game than he has been previously.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the Vikings have played well most of this season already. Their defense is balled out.
Yeah.
Obviously, last week kind of is a fluky game against Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. But I do believe that their defense is a solid defense, and their offense, when it's grooving, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, their offense last week, they didn't have to do anything really. They could have won that game without fielding an offense last week.
Jordan Mason was able to just run all over him at that point because it didn't matter.
This week, they're playing a healthy Steelers team, relatively speaking. Steelers, their defense has been really solid to start the year here. They are also 2-1 to start the year with wins over the Jets and then whoever the hell they played last week. Who did they play last week? That's electric. They played the Patriots last week. So their defense has been cooking in their 2 wins, and their loss was to Seattle. I think this is a winnable game for them, but neither team really makes a lot of mistakes. The Vikings have made more mistakes with J.J. McCarthy so far than they did with Darnold really last year through this point of the season. So I think they'll be fine with a veteran quarterback. I don't think there will be a lot of turnovers in this game. And then it just comes down to who's the better football team at the end of the day. And I think that could be the Steelers. Next game on the list, we got
Washington versus Atlanta.
Yeah, Washington versus Atlanta. Washington and Atlanta's game. Atlanta is a 2-point favorite at home. Washington playing without Jaden Daniels, playing without Terry McLaurin, might be missing Bill tomorrow. It might not be a great game for them offensively. I'm going to go with Atlanta here. I'm going to take that spread there at 2 points even. I just think Atlanta's defense is really solid. They're going to do enough to win this game tomorrow without really having to use their offense a whole lot. Asia Terrell is missing tomorrow. It's a big loss for the Falcons, but their rookie pass rushers, Jalen Walker and James Pierce, they've been doing really good. A lot of pressure on quarterbacks, and I think that's going to force Marcus Mariota to just make a lot of mistakes outside of the pocket.
I think that Marcus Mariota is a very experienced quarterback in this league. Has played well when he's been asked to, even when dating back to when he played for Philly.
Yep.
He's now playing well for Washington in that Jaden Daniels fill-in role. I will take Washington. It does kind of shift a little bit if Bill isn't able to be in that game, because I do think Bill's vital to their success tomorrow. I'm going to take Washington, but don't be surprised if Atlanta wins without.
Yeah, I mean, their starter otherwise would be Jeremy McNichols tomorrow, which is an interesting...
Or Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, an interesting starting running back. Regardless, that becomes a pass-heavy offense at that point.
Correct.
The next game after that, I believe...
You got Bills Saints.
Yeah, Bills Saints. We don't have to speak on that too much.
No, we can just actually breeze over that. The Bills are going to stop them.
The Bills open as 15-point favorites, and I think that's a little generous for the Saints. I don't see how they lose by anything less than 20, to be honest with you. Offense has been out of sync. The only thing they have going offensively is the Rattler to Juwan Johnson connection, and that happens like a few times a game. Run game has been pretty shit all year.
I also think what's good to be noted here is Spencer Rattler has not won a single game he's started.
Yeah, no.
That is a problem.
And that's not going to change against the
And
Bills.
quarterbacks that he shares that with are ones like Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah,
that's not good company to be in.
No.
I'm gonna take the Bills, and there's no reason the Saints win.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for a bright spot for the Saints, they're gonna be down a lot. Maybe they throw the ball to Olave if you got Olave in fantasy.
Yeah, if you
it might
Olave,
be good.
Juwan Johnson and
Juwan
Kamara.
Johnson, Kamara might be viable if he gets enough receiving work.
Yeah.
But like that's all you got for a bright side in New Orleans.
To be noted at this point in the season, Matt Milano is like pretty much dead last on PFF coverage grade for linebackers. He's been dog shit at covering running backs and tight ends this year. So it should be a big
He's got
game.
a shot.
Should be a big game for Kamara if he gets a lot of looks in man-to-man against Milano. Even Terrell Bernard has been pretty horrible in coverage this year. With that being said, their opponents have been the Ravens, the Chiefs, and whoever else. So it's been a tough matchup, but yeah, they should easily win this game by at least 20 tomorrow.
Then next we got Lions versus the Browns.
Lions-Browns, the Browns just play really boring football, to be honest with you. The game against Green Bay last week was boring until the last minute of the game. They block a kick, they go down, and
Kick a field goal
they
themselves.
barely avoid getting that game-winning field goal blocked. Packers player was maybe 2 inches away from getting his hand on it. With that being said, I can't think of a game last year besides the snow game with Jameis and Jerry Jeudy popping off. I can't think of a game where the Browns have really scored more than 17 fucking points. So this is going to be a really sticky game. I think the Lions should win this one. They are on paper and in theory the better team. But with that being said, I do see a world that the Browns could just really make it a boring game, dumb everything down, and we're going to see another 13-10 game.
I mean, so bright sides, it's going to sound like I'm picking the Browns. I'm not. I'm picking the Lions. But bright sides for the Browns, they got Quinshon Judkins, who has been phenomenal in his first couple weeks in the league right now. He kind of helps facilitate that offense, keeps it rolling. Whether or not they're scoring the touchdowns that they should be, I think it's because Joe Flacco's starting. I don't think Joe Flacco's as good as he once was. I think he's kind of preventing that offense from moving forward right now. But as a whole, I do think that run game is very important to them. Their defense, stout per usual. I mean, and that's why they won in that game versus the Packers, is they kept it close enough where they didn't have to score a lot of points to make it happen.
Yeah. If you have Jerry Jeudy in fantasy, he's been awful this whole year, but look for a big matchup tomorrow. Him against Terry and Arnold. Terry and Arnold has a 130 passer rating allowed when targeted this year.
And he's hurt.
Along with two, is he going to be out for the game?
No, it sounds like he's going to play.
Yeah, he's playing.
He's kind of playing a little banged up with I think it was hamstring, if I'm not mistaken.
Playing banged up, has 2 PIs, 1 hold already on the year. Horrible passer rating against, especially he's already given up 2 touchdowns this year in man-to-man. So watch for a big game from Jerry Jeudy tomorrow. Next game.
We got the Titans versus the Texans. That should be at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we could honestly put that on the TV anytime, from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and nobody would know the difference because this is going to be horrible. It's a dumpster fire versus a slightly more well-rounded dumpster fire, if you will.
I don't even know if there's a well-rounded dumpster fire in this because you look at the Titans. The Titans are working with a rookie quarterback, trying to get some feet under them.
Calvin Ridley.
Their defense is nothing to be afraid of at this point right now.
Their defense, they have 2 good defenders. I don't know if Jerry Sneed's going to play this week. I'm pretty sure he's
playing this week.
Okay.
He's not worried about Nico Collins. That's actually one of the headlines that's been in media this week is he said Nico Collins who? And so we're going to find out if Nico Collins takes that personally. So my guess is Nico Collins is going to have a day against L'Jarius Sneed. But I also still believe that the Titans just have looked like the better team. C.J. Stroud has been garbage ever since he little broed Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Their stats have night and day switched sides.
2 touchdowns to 3 picks to start the year for Stroud.
Not looking good for Stroud. Stroud was actually dropped in our fantasy league this week, which is something not many people would think would happen.
I thought about picking him up, but then I just realized he's dog shit.
It's just he's garbage.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I need a quarterback this week. I am playing Justin Fields off of the concussion before I'm even thinking about picking up Stroud.
You should, yeah. Stroud has not been a viable option at QB. I don't know what's wrong with their offense, but they got to get it figured out because they've just looked awful. I think this will be a big coming out party for Cam Ward. However, Texans defense has been pretty tough. I don't know if Stingley's back this week. I can go check that.
Stingley is back from what I saw. He was supposed to be back.
But either way, like,
are you taking Texans or Titans?
I'm gonna take the Titans.
I as well am taking the Titans in this game. I do believe Cam Ward has looked like the better player out of him and C.J. Stroud, which is crazy to say considering all the praise C.J. Stroud has gotten previously. I do believe that the Titans team has just looked better.
Yeah, the Titans, they have a better run game too, which is retarded to say with Tony Pollard at running back. But
yeah,
I think
Tony Pollard just figured it out enough for the Titans. Like he's not doing absurd things, but he's also just kind of steady Eddie, getting his touches that he needs and gets in the end zone once in a while.
It should be, like I said, a really boring game and a game that should be flexed to the morning.
Let's talk about another boring game.
Yeah.
Panthers versus Patriots.
Like, we really just took a look at the noon slate and we were like, wow,
we could skip almost all these games.
Probably sleep in tomorrow. Panthers Patriots is a game that nobody really cares about, not even Panthers or Patriots fans. Both teams, I think the Patriots should win this game.
I think they should.
Both
teams offense at least is rolling to an extent.
Yeah.
I don't think the Panthers are just kind of they're there.
Yeah. Both teams have a young quarterback looking to obviously just develop this season. Bryce Young here in year 3 is kind of a big season for him at this point.
It's make or break.
But
obviously,
they've
for
given
Bryce
him
Young,
a
unfortunately.
they've given him a shit sandwich to surround him with, and then the Patriots. Drake May, he's having a really nice start to the season so far.
It's been solid.
Their offense has been pretty good. Their defense, they'll get it figured out when they're all more comfortable playing with each other. Mike Vrabel, obviously a defensive-minded coach.
I trust him Vrabel to get it done.
I trust Vrabel over Dave Canales to get his team a boring game like that.
And I think that's honestly where I'm at is like their leadership. I just believe more in Vrabel getting the job done than I do Canales. So
next game, Chargers-Giants. Going to be an exciting game, to be honest. The Chargers have been playing really good football as of late. They've been pretty fun to watch this year, 3-0 obviously. And the Giants, 0-3, could easily be 2-1 if Russell Wilson isn't their quarterback. Okay, I can't say they'd be 2-1. They're not going to beat the Cowboys.
I believe if Jameis Winston was their quarterback, they could have beat the Cowboys.
No, they wouldn't have even been into overtime in that game. He would have thrown a pick earlier in the game to take him out of it.
True.
But they could at least have a win on the season if either of the other quarterbacks were starting. But Jackson Dart, I don't like that the Giants are starting him this early in his career behind that offensive line.
It's so tough because, I know they want to do change, and I know they have this new shiny piece that they want to use. I understand that, but you look at the upcoming slate for the Giants, and they don't have an easy game in the next 8.
Yeah, it's not
remotely. It is bad.
Not remotely a favorable schedule.
I think they got the Eagles twice in that. They got the Chargers and maybe even the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's they just played the Chiefs.
Okay, they just got out of the Chiefs game. That's right.
Yeah, the Giants. I don't know. I really don't know. Defensively, they don't seem to really have an answer. They held the Chiefs to 22, but the Chiefs are literally missing 2 of their best players offensively.
It's been a bad look. It really has been, and I hate to say this, but they are doing the exact same formula that the Bears have been doing, and that's roll out a new quarterback, and the coach is probably last year of his contract.
Yeah, Brian
Dable's going to get fired.
Publicly on the chopping block.
He's going to get fired, and then Jackson Dart's going to have to learn a whole new system next year, and you hate to see it, but that's going to be exactly what it is. and you hope that whoever takes him over can do well with him.
Jackson Dart was my favorite quarterback in this class. I wanted him to go to the Rams so he could sit behind Stafford for a year. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and now he's really in an interesting situation.
Troubling situation.
But they think that he's ready to start, so it'll be fun to watch. But I'm still going to take the Chargers.
Yeah, let me shed some light on the Chargers though. They have just looked phenomenal at all points this year. They got Justin Herbert moving and grooving. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. The way he's playing, and I don't think anybody stops him.
Through 3 weeks so far, like, it's tough for me to say a team like really looks like they could be a Super Bowl contender through 3 weeks because anything can happen. But if I had to pick a team from the AFC to probably win the Super Bowl, it would be the Chargers or the Bills right now.
The ones that look the most complete are the two teams you just listed. Like the Chargers have the offense, have the defense.
It's funny because the Chargers are like Quentin Johnson has overtaken Ladd McConkey this year so far. 3 weeks, obviously, small sample size, but he's overtaken him as the wide receiver 1. Uncle Keenan Allen out here is just moving and grooving. He's about to be the fastest player to 1,000 catches in a career this week. Maybe not this week, but next week. He's 7 catches away. So he's looked good. Hughes has looked good.
Hughes isn't dropping the ball like he was.
Ladd McConkey has like 148 yards on the year right now and like maybe 9 catches. He's been I can't even say bad, but he just hasn't been getting the targets he was last year because Quentin Johnson's been so good.
I mean, in Keenan Allen, it's just taking his old role right back, and that's the role that Ladd McConkey had.
Yeah.
So Keenan really stepping in, and then on top of it, Hughes just playing to his capabilities.
Yeah,
I mean, the Chargers are a team to mess around with.
And not to mention, like, they're missing Khalil Mack right now defensively, but their defense has still been really good.
So,
and even when
you said Chargers, though, right?
Even when Khalil was there week 1, their pass rush was just really, really good, and their defense looked good.
All right, next on the
game,
list.
our game of the week, we got the Eagles versus the Bucks. It should be a really good game. I think they played it last year, and it was a good game. I'm pretty sure they played the year before, and it was a good game.
I don't think we've been disappointed by it in the Eagles-Buccaneers game.
No, the Eagles,
years.
The Eagles, offensively, they seemingly got it figured out last week. They finally remembered who A.J. Brown was.
Correct.
And that honestly got the rest of the offense moving. You'd like to see Saquon get going a little more down the stretch here. Buccaneers don't have a great run defense, so I think this is going to be a huge game for him.
Well, and what they've been doing to Saquon is they've been loading the box because they know they want to use Saquon.
Yeah.
Because Saquon was a pivotal point and pivotal piece to them making the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl last year.
Offensive player.
So I do know that teams are loading the box on Saquon. That is why Jalen Hurts has to pass more, and I think that's why A.J. Brown had the week that he did because he was forced into passing, and now they were rolling on offense when they had to pass. So I think it's going to even out. Saquon's going to get it right.
I think for the Eagles to maintain the level of success they're having right now, winning games wise, I think they're going to need their offense to be better down the stretch of the season, and I think what that's going to need to look like is Jalen Hurts being more aggressive with the football. Right now, he's just taking a lot of checkdowns. That's why his yardage is so low this year. His yards per attempt is like seven flat right now. He needs to start taking a few more deep shots. He's got A.J. Brown, one of the best contested catchers in the league, and then Devontae Smith, one of the best deep route runners in the league. If he can just get the time, which the offensive line is going to provide him that time, he needs to take deep shots down the field.
And I think he's scrambling a lot more as just a whole. If he doesn't see that check down, he's just running with it. And it's kind of weird to see out of him because he usually is a pretty well-determined, like he's going to throw the ball. He's not going to try and scramble as much, but this year he's been into the scrambling. So
he's 3-0, but the team could easily be 1-2 right now, so they're going to need a little bit.
They're going to need more out of that offense.
The Bucks, they're playing without Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin is back this week, so that'll be at least
kind of balances it out.
Cool to see. And Igbuka, he looks to be the clear wide receiver 1 for Baker right now. He's been an absolute stud. Didn't lose a step coming from Ohio State to the NFL. He has just been an absolute demon this year.
That team is rolling.
Yeah, defensively, they're not the greatest team, but offensively, they're just such a good team that it doesn't even matter, really.
It's crazy to say that, like, the Panthers had Baker and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, how mega of a fumble that is to lose both of them and then have them ball out other places at this point.
Yeah.
Baker took it personally, and he is using it as a weapon, and he is the reason why the Buccaneers are where they're at right now.
Last week, the Bucs played the Jets. And Steve Wilkes was the interim head coach for Carolina when Baker and Sam Darnold were there. He's now the defensive coordinator for the Jets. Baker threw some shade at him, whatever, about, letting him walk in the offseason. And Steve Wilkes well, I didn't really get much of a choice in that. He's like, if I had a choice in what players get traded and whatnot from the team, we wouldn't have traded Christian McCaffrey. But in a sense there, you can tell that Baker kind of holds a grudge to Carolina, and that kind of feels him a little bit, especially now that he's playing in the same division. With that being said, I'm going to take the Eagles. I assume that Jalen Hurts is going to take a few more deep shots this week, and we're going to get a better offensive product for them. Their defense has been really good this year, obviously assuming Jalen Carter doesn't spit on the quarterback. They've been a really solid defensive team so far this year, and I think they'll maintain that and get a dub here in Tampa.
I mean, my personal thought, Tampa, they're at home. I think they're going to win the game. I think Baker's kept them in games, and he's just got a grit to him that not many other guys do. I can see a world where the Eagles do just start airing it out, and that defense gets cut apart. I do see the side of people betting Eagles. I'm just going to take the Buccaneers because that's just honestly what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and that's fair. Next game, we got the Colts, Rams, one of my favorite teams, the Rams. I need Matthew Stafford to have a really good popping out game. He's kind of old at this point in his career. He doesn't have too many great games left in him, but I want to see one right here against the Colts. They're 3-0, but if they advance to 4-0, we're really gonna have to start calling the Colts a good team, and I don't want to do that. The Rams, they're 2-1, easily should be 3-0. They got a kick block last week against the Eagles. They controlled that whole game against the Eagles, fell apart in the fourth quarter, and ultimately ended up losing. Puka, he's been a stud for the Rams. He's the number one fantasy receiver in the league. Doesn't have a receiving touchdown yet this year. I think
that's Puka's whole career.
I think against the Colts here, they're going to get Puka the ball in the red zone at some point. He'll get a receiving touchdown this week. I think this game will come down to that Rams pass rush quite a bit. Colts O-line this year has not been as good as it has years past. They're in, imagine a grid with pass blocking and run blocking, and then, bad down here. They're kind of, I don't know, slanted that way. They're not looking too hot right now. They got a lot of things that they got to fix. If the Rams can get good pass rush on them, that's going to force Daniel Jones to start making the mistakes that we've previously seen him make. If they can't get a pass rush on him this week, he might just go for 280 through the air and 100 on the ground, just because.
Okay, so my take on the Colts. The Colts have been a very good team with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has found himself real comfortable over there in Indianapolis. He didn't have a lot of expectations going into the year, and I think that's what's kind of helped him along is when he was in New York, the expectation was get them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Here, it's okay, here's just a chance for you.
Yeah,
you get a chance to go prove yourself, and he's done that so far.
Yeah.
I do think that Jonathan Taylor has also benefited from just having an actual quarterback be able to control a game, where now they have to worry about what the quarterback's going to do instead of, we're just going to run all the time with Jonathan Taylor. So Jonathan Taylor has looked like an absolute stud, like he should be. And as much as I'm talking up the Colts, I do think the Rams are going to win. The Rams have just looked like that complete team. I think that they get the win. They were a complete team last week, minus special teams.
It's crazy. Since the Rams have traded for Stafford, they have been that complete team. And, they're just, at this point, kind of locks to make the playoffs, which is awesome.
They'll make the wild card at minimum.
I love Matthew Stafford. I respect Matthew Stafford, and I want to see him in the playoffs every year. That's great. But it is just crazy to think that. Last year, the Colts, picking up what you said, last year, the Colts' game plan with Anthony Richardson at quarterback was either throw the ball deep or hand it off to Jonathan Taylor. This year, you got throw it deep-ish, throw it to the middle of the field, throw it a little short and outside, design QB runs. There's so much that you have to account for with Daniel Jones back there. He is just truly a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson ever has been, and it does make the Colts offense a threat.
All right, we'll roll into Niners-Jags.
Niners-Jags, there's really not enough bad that I can say about the Jags.
Brian Thomas Jr.?
Shane Waldron is really just ruining Brian Thomas Jr. This is horrible to see. having Brian Thomas Jr. run screens, I think, is banned in like 49 states, but Florida's the one that allows it, obviously. It just looks horrible. And then Brian Thomas Jr., the timing between him and Trevor Lawrence on like the deep routes that he is running right now, it has been horrible. The ball coming out from Trevor Lawrence is like, it's always either too early or too late, and Brian Thomas never has a good look to get the ball.
So in the preseason, Brian Thomas Jr. got a ball that was definitely a hospital ball from Trevor Lawrence. And ever since then, Brian Thomas Jr. has not trusted Trevor Lawrence to throw him a ball over the middle. He's giving up on the ball way too quick. Not to his fault, but also when he's giving up on the ball too quick, he's having a lot of drops. He's having a lot of just missed timing with Trevor Lawrence that he wasn't having last year. Yeah. So I do think, yes, it's part of Shane Waldron. He's not doing a good job at play calling for them. Yeah. Didn't do a good job play calling for the Bears, the Seahawks, anyone else. Yeah. So, I mean, Shane Waldron is the problem. But I do think that some of that timing issue is because Trevor Lawrence threw a hospital ball and the trust was kind of broken on that. So
the effort levels on balls that aren't thrown right to BTJ's chest right now is just not there.
No.
Last week he caught one deep ball. It was perfectly thrown by Trevor Lawrence, and it looked like a connection you'd see last year. But he had 2 catches for 55 yards last week and had 6 targets. It's not great reception volume right now.
I kind of think based off of what I can see right now and kind of where things are at, is Brian Thomas Jr., all that rack that he was getting last year, the yards after catch, whatever, I think those are going to go away. I think he's going to start to end up more like a Tyler Lockett, where he just falls down because he doesn't want to take a hit or doesn't trust his quarterback to get the job done or not put him in danger. So that being said, let's pivot over to the 49ers, I think.
The Niners, they got Brock Purdy back this week. Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall both banged up last week in their win. They're 3-0 right now, playing last week with Mac Jones last week.
So Mac Jones was last week's starter.
Mac Jones last week and the week before.
They lost Nick Bosa.
Yes, they have lost Nick Bosa this week. Torn ACL. Done for the season.
Yep.
That's a big blow to the defense, but at the same time, it seems like they get that lost every year. Either Nick Bosa or when they had Hufanga, it was either Nick Bosa, Hufanga, or their number 1 corner every year. I don't know. They just lose somebody every year.
I saw a stat over the past 5 years that they have been in the top 10 injuries all 5 of those years for having the most people injured. Yeah. And out of those 5 years and being in the top 10, they had 3 or 4 of them that were in the top 4, not just the top 10. Yeah, so the Niners are always banged up, and they still find a way to get it done.
Yeah, for the most part.
I think they're going to continue to get it done this year.
Yeah, last year, obviously, an outlier. They missed the playoffs due to their sheer amount of injuries last year.
I'm going to take the Niners.
Christian McCaffrey, he's healthy. He's back to rolling right now. Even with Mac Jones, I think with Brock Purdy, that offense looks a lot better. With that being said, I'm still going to take the Jags here. I think defensively, the Jags are pretty well matched for the Niners this week. I'd like to see more Travis Hunter defensively this week. He's been playing a lot of snaps on both sides. I'd like to see more of him defensively, though. It's hard for him to make an impact when he's on the field for half of the plays on each side of the ball. I'd like to see him doing more on one side of the ball this week. I don't really care defensively or offensively. Niners, they're probably going to be without Juwan Jennings tomorrow, so they're going to have Ricky Pearsall,
who's also hurt,
Jake Tongas, and Christian McCaffrey as their targets.
I mean, that's always been their deal, though. They've always had this lackluster receiving room because they have so many guys hurt. They always have the missing George Kittle because they've got guys hurt. They missed CMC almost all of last year and still got it done. They got it done to an extent.
6-11 last year.
Their offense still moved to an extent.
George Kittle,
I think they get it
he
done.
pretty much misses 3 or 4 games every year too, so they're kind of used to being without him. Kyle Shanahan talked about Brandon Ayuk earlier this week. He said he's nowhere close to returning. Had not really a setback, but there's just a lot more damage than originally thought, and it's just going to take a while for him to recover. So if you're a Brandon Ayuk owner in fantasy, Kale, I know you're watching. You're heavy on this stock. Hopes and prayers to you. I'm gonna take the Jags in that game though.
That's fair.
Next game after that
Chiefs Ravens.
Chiefs offense has been atrocious this year, to say the least. With that being said, they are trotting out Juju and Hollywood Brown as their wide receiver 1 and 2. Not bad receivers. They're not wide receiver 1 or 2s at this point in their career. They get Xavier Worthy back this week. He's a huge threat to any defense. Last year, he really emerged at the end of the year. Big play threat. Kind of adds an element to any offense when you have a guy that fast who can do that much with the football, running or receiving. I think that should open up at least one more element of their offense. It should open up either Travis Kelce receiving the ball, depending on the side of the field that he's on, or it should open up the running game a little bit because they have to respect Worthy more and take a guy out of the box, like a box safety, which we've been seeing against the Chiefs, and put him up top to actually cover the deep balls.
So in theory, that should either open up Isaiah Pacheco,
yes,
or Travis Kelce.
Yes, pretty much.
That is where we're at, and I, as a Pacheco owner, obviously want it, but I don't know. Pacheco just hasn't looked himself since that injury last year. Even when their offense was rolling last year, it wasn't because of Pacheco at that point.
Him and Kareem Hunt last week, split carries, 10 and 10 each.
I could see a world where if Pacheco doesn't get it done this week, that's his last straw, and that they move on to a new running back, or they trade for somebody, or I could see a world of options there.
With all this being said, Baltimore is pretty much the best regular season team I've ever watched throughout my whole life so far. Like the past 3-4 years of Baltimore in the regular season has been the best team that we've watched pretty much. They're really good. They're rolling. They lost devastating week 1, obviously, to the Bills. Derrick Henry, untimely fumble. This past week, Monday Night Football against the Lions.
Untimely fumble.
Close game, 31-24. They're losing. But then Derrick Henry coughs up the ball again. Another untimely fumble.
This has been wild.
He's not going to keep fumbling every week of the season. If he does, that's an anomaly for sure. But it's a big game here, Ravens-Chiefs. I think the Ravens should win this one. Assuming that Lamar keeps playing how Lamar's been playing. He's still the best quarterback in the league right now. Assuming how he's been playing recently, he keeps that going. Derrick Henry hopefully doesn't have an untimely fumble. Their defense, their biggest struggle has been the run game. They just gave up like 224 touchdowns to the Lions. If the Chiefs run for anything over 150, I might post my feet on our Instagram, because this is it would just be ridiculous to have the Chiefs pop out that much.
I do agree with you there, is that the Chiefs have looked so bad offensively. I don't think that Xavier Worthy is going to push them over that edge enough to beat the Ravens.
Yes.
Now, do I think that's going to help them in other games as we go? For sure.
Yeah.
But just right now, speaking just about this game, I think Derrick Henry's going to get back on track. He's addressing that fumble issue.
He's been really good. He's been really good aside from the fumbles this year. He's been back to being Derrick.
And just that offense has looked really good.
Derrick Henry is so fun to watch when he has a seam to run through in the offensive line. Like he's 31 years old, almost 32 years old, and he still has maybe the quickest burst in the league outside of Jahmyr Gibbs. It is unbelievable, but it's so fun to watch. I love watching the Ravens offense. I don't think this game should be a shootout, honestly. I think the Ravens should just win this one outright, control the game the whole way.
Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, like you said, Worthy being added back is not going to beat the Ravens.
And then we got Bears-Raiders.
Bears-Raiders.
A game that could end up being a shootout because neither of us have defense.
Bears coming out of a huge week. Caleb Williams, 298 and 4 passing touchdowns. No blemishes really last week against Dallas. Dallas's defense, obviously pathetic. But with that being said, the Raiders defense, they're not going to be doing much more than Dallas's defense did last week. I think we're in a point offensively where the Bears are rolling. We're missing Colston Loveland this week.
I don't think that's as big of a deal as it would be if he was our only tight end.
Yeah, and then
we have Cole Kmet, so.
Darnell Wright, right tackle. He's out. He's been really good blocking for the most part this year, but he also leads the team in penalties.
I was going to say a lot of false starts going on.
He has like 3 holds on the year, and I believe 3 false starts as well. So
pre-snap penalties. They'll kill it.
Assuming the line won't be any better without him, obviously, but it shouldn't be too much worse without him either. Worst case scenario, we're just having Cole Kmet chip every play, whatever.
Yeah, and I think Rome has looked phenomenal this year so far. I think that DJ Moore, there's more to be desired there.
The Raiders don't have a defensive back to cover Rome.
They don't have a defensive back to cover either of them.
And
I think no matter the side of the field, one of them's going to be open.
Luther, we saw more of him last week. We're going to keep seeing more of him as the year goes on. Zacchaeus, he's a really nice slot option. Him and Caleb, obviously, they're homies. They love each other. The offense is rolling. The defense, on the other hand, Kyler Gordon is questionable heading into the game. If we play him, I might be a little sad because we have our bye next week. There's no point to rush him back.
I think if he's out at this point, just leave him out for this next week. Let him build up that health and take the bye week and move into
TJ Edwards, Grady Jarrett, both going to be out. We're going to see more Andrew Billings this week, more Shamar Turner this week. He made his debut last week. Excited to see more of him this week. Javon Dexter, been a stud this year.
He was good last year.
Yeah, Deo has been pretty good run defensive. There's definitely more.
There's a lot more.
There's more to be desired.
Pass rush wise.
Yeah, Montez has been pretty good as a pass rusher this year. He's not getting home a lot, but he's causing a lot of pressures. He's been in the top 9 for pressures this year.
Other than that game against Detroit.
Yeah, against Detroit, we had nothing. But defensively, we're, I think, in a spot where we can control the Raiders. Geno, 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions.
Yeah, Geno just has looked bad in comparison.
That was his first 2 games. But
Geno's just looked bad in comparison to where he left off in Seattle.
Yeah.
I do think that Geno is a great step up from where they were at last year with the quarterback situation. I just don't think it's enough to push them over any sort of edge to get closer in their division.
No.
I think it's going to take the whole team getting a lot better. That O-line needs to get better for Genty.
The O-line is the biggest issue right now for the Raiders.
They can't move the ball.
They are pretty much dead last in pass blocking right now, and they are literally dead last in run blocking. Genty has 1 more yard after contact than he has total yards on the season. That is pathetic. We're both Bears fans, obviously.
We're gonna take the Bears.
We're gonna take the Bears here, and I think realistically,
that's a realistic option.
A Bears win.
And I think the line was like 2 towards the Raiders.
It was
but they're
1.
At home.
It was the Raiders by 1, but they're at home.
So they get 3 points for being at home.
Expected to be a 50-50 fan split, so
not
really going to be much of a home game.
Packers Cowboys. Let's just briefly go over this because there's not much to go over.
Yeah,
I think the Cowboys have been so banged up, and their defense has just looked so awful without Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is getting his game back against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think that the Packers just have looked awesome on offense, which sickens me to say. They've looked good on offense other than last week. I think that's an outlier to a good defense in Cleveland, but I think the Packers go in there and win.
Yeah. Dallas, if they want to make this a close game, it's going to be all on Dak Prescott's shoulders. I love Javonte. Javonte's having a hell of a season so far. They're not going to be bashing the Packers too much in the run like Jerry Jones thinks they're about to be. I don't really think Cowboys are going to be able to run the football for long enough in this game either if they want to stay in.
I also just looking at it, the Packers are a top 5 run defense in the league. Like you're not going to just run all over them like Jerry wants to.
Yeah.
And I think that Dak's going to have to do a lot more. And missing CeeDee Lamb, that's going to hurt you. He relied on Jake Ferguson last week quite a bit. He threw the ball a lot to him. Not getting many touchdowns.
Yeah, just 13 receptions.
A lot of receptions from
Ferguson last week.
So if you're in a point per reception league,
yeah,
Jake Ferguson might be your guy.
Ferguson, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert, really the only options they have there this week. Tolbert gets a lot of targets. He can be really flashy once he has the ball in his hands. Same thing with Devontae Turpin, of course. But defensively, I just don't know if they'll do enough.
I don't think they can hold up enough.
And I would be so happy if I'm wrong. And
me as well.
I would love if Kenny Clark flipped the script, got his revenge game, and Micah did nothing. That would be ideal.
But I just don't believe that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dallas is hurt on the O line too. It's not just the receivers. They are banged up all across that O line. Yeah. I think their right tackle's hurt. Their left guard's hurt. Yeah, they have a couple different players on that O line.
Like I said, I just don't really see much of a world that the Cowboys can make this a close game.
And then
Monday night we got 2 games.
Two games Monday night.
Jets,
I hate that, by the way.
I love it. Jets, Dolphins. Not much to be said there. It should be a noon on Sunday game. I don't know what we're doing here. Dolphins have been pathetic. The Jets have been as pathetic.
I don't necessarily know if that's fair Fields was out last week with a concussion.
They were shit
with the concussion.
They were shit week 2 with Fields. So
he got hurt mid-game.
Yeah, and probably for the better. He was 2 for 8 at that point with the pick.
I do think that they bounce back. I think that Breece Hall is going to be necessary for that game to go the Jets' way. And right now, the only good thing to say about the Dolphins right now is Devon Achane has been good, and then that's where that line
is. Last week they got the passing offense rolling. Definitely a little better on Thursday Night Football. They actually played a pretty decent game with the Bills until Tua decided to throw pretty much a game-sealing pick late in the fourth quarter.
And that's been Tua's career.
It looked better, but it's still not going to be.
It's not going to be.
It's not going to be enough to win them many games. With that being said, it is the Jets. The Jets are not much of a better team. Don't get it twisted.
They almost beat the Buccaneers.
I'm going to take the Jets here, but it's going to be a close game, and a game, like I said, that should be really a noon slate.
I am also taking the Jets here. I'm a big Justin Fields stan, so I do think that he is a much better player than most people give him credit for, and I think he's going to go in and beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think he should. It is in Miami, however.
He ran all over him the last time
he was in Miami
because he played in Chicago last against them.
Yeah, last time he was in Miami, he ran for 237 against them and 2 touchdowns.
Also, Mike McDaniel, yeah. He had to yell from the sideline to tell Justin Fields to stop running against him. So he clearly has no plan when it comes to stopping a run against him. Yeah. Granted, he's offensive coach. Shouldn't.
And he really hasn't had much of a plan to stop any running quarterback.
So
Fields.
We both picked the Jets. Move on to the last game.
Next game. Bengals,
not much to even talk about.
Bengals, Broncos. The Bengals were ass last week. The Broncos were ass last week. The Broncos.
Who is worse?
Yeah, that's literally what they're playing here. I would take the under on the game by any means possible. Maybe throw the mortgage on it.
I'm definitely going to take the Broncos as well.
I'm going to take the Broncos. I don't like the Broncos still. Their offense.
They've looked bad.
Bo Nix doesn't provide any substance to any offense.
Which is crazy because he was playing very well last year, doing what they asked him to.
He lacks the intangibles to be a really good quarterback in this league. He has a noodle arm. He's athletic. He has a noodle arm, really inconsistent throwing the deep ball. And ultimately, that's really been what's killing them this year so far. They've lacked big plays. And in the NFL today, you need big plays to win football games.
I don't have much to say about the Broncos. They're just kind of getting it done with J.K. Dobbins, of all people. I know R.J. Harvey fans are real upset with that, but...
the Bengals.
We'll pivot over to the Bengals here. So Chase Brown has been abysmal.
2 yards, actually less than 2 yards to carry by the hair.
He is the worst thing ever for running. 40, it feels like at this point.
47 rushes, 93 yards. Obviously, no touchdowns with the stat line.
Not looking good.
Jake Browning, I don't understand why they kept him as the backup quarterback. He's horrible.
He had a good game against the Vikings, not this last time, but 2 times ago, and that's why he still has a job.
He can't throw a ball past 20 yards down the field. He makes his receivers obsolete in the game, and you just can't have that of a backup quarterback.
And I feel for those who drafted Jamar Chase, but I don't think it gets better for you unless you bring in a new quarterback.
Your best hope is a late season revival.
You hope
Joe Burrow comes back.
You hope. Well, and it sounds like Joe Burrow might not even come back because depending on where they are. So, honestly, your hope is that you trade for a guy like Jameis Winston, who's at least going to bring some excitement to your team. He might not bring many more wins, but he'll at least bring some sort of offense because he'll be so far behind because of his interceptions that. He's got that 30-30 capability, the 30 interception, 30 touch. But I do think they need a piece on offense.
Even a guy like
QB to get the ship moving.
Even a guy like Russ, who obviously just got benched, is an upgrade over Jake Browning. A substantial upgrade over Jake Browning. And
I've heard that they're talking maybe about trying to trade one of the two
before November.
But I don't see the Bengals getting any better without changing that quarterback.
I think
being said,
the Broncos defense, they're gonna not have a game like the Vikings defense had, but they're gonna have a good enough game. They're gonna walk out of there with the dub.
Jamar Chase fans, I'm sorry. It's not going to look pretty for you, especially if Pat Surtain is healthy and playing.
Yeah, it might be a Monday night to forget from the looks of it.
Yeah. So, and T. Higgins, I don't even know if you're relevant at this point because of how bad your quarterback is.
Yeah, I just it'd be one thing if Jake Browning could get the ball to them, but they can't succeed with him.
Okay. So we've gone over all of the NFL slate.
Yep.
I have wrote down each of our picks. We'll come back and we will review those next week before our podcast, or while we're doing our podcast. We'll come up with tallies of win-loss, and I think we'll have some sort of punishment for whoever's got the worst record on the year.
We can probably arrange that. Just gonna give you guys this little 6-leg touchdown parlay that AI made for me. We got Kelvin Austin getting a an anytime touchdown.
Sure.
Bucky Irving getting an anytime touchdown.
Sure.
Neighbors getting an anytime. Jerry Jeudy getting an anytime.
Ooh.
Josh Downs getting an anytime. And
That's a bold choice.
And Kareem the Dream getting an anytime. The odds on this, I flexed it, so it's 166 multiplier, but without the flex, it's about a 260 multiplier.
All right. Anything else?
Baseball. We got baseball playoffs coming up here. Brewers gonna get the 1 seed.
I think we can kind of lean into this next week. No.
I mean, no.
I guess baseball starts this week.
The playoffs start Monday.
Yeah.
No, we got playoffs this next week, and the Brewers won't play until the week after that, assuming they clinch the bye here.
I guess that's why I didn't care too much about the rest of the MLB playoffs.
Yeah, but we got one matchup in stone. It's the Padres versus the Cubs. The Brewers are down 6-2 right now. We got the Padres versus the Cubs. That will be set in stone.
Where are the Phillies at?
Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday is when the first series start. No AL series have been discussed yet or been set in stone yet. So it's just Padres Cubs right now. Padres game 1 starter. Who will even be their game 1 starter?
Dylan Cease maybe.
Yeah, it could.
Cease
Nick Pivetta
Pivetta's been solid too.
Pivetta or Cease. Will be the game 1 starter there. The Cubs,
and then
Cubs game
will
1
be Matthew Boyd
or Cade Horton.
Who's also been a good rookie.
Both lineups have a lot of potential. With the deep ball. First games are played in Wrigley.
Cubs just got back Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, should be a fun series to watch. Obviously, go Padres for us since we're Brewers fans.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, I don't want to face the Padres